listen, when the help from you.
One thing I can say for sure, it is a bygone era where the youth are going to come to us in our ivory towers, in our mausoleums. We've got to go out to the streets. We've got to go to them.
Amen.
And until we reorganize, reconstruct, retool our ministries and take to the streets, we're going to see this situation continue. We've got to have big brothers out there with mentoring some of these young people, big sisters mentoring some of our young sisters. Our churches are empty basically with young people because we have failed to realize what time it is, and we've got to go to them and sit down with them and hear them. That's why when we gather a month from now, Brother Dyrell can tell you about that on Saturday, October the 14th, to bring this community together. A lot of young people are going to be on the stage to speak to their peers, because we old folk, a lot of us. I hear what you're saying, Sam. We've had our time, our moment in the sun. We've got to elevate young people now to that stage, but they're not going to come to us. We've got to go to them, and that's what we're going to see a difference.
All right.
I'll tell you a little bit about yesterday. They arrested a young man for the death of a 10-year-old girl.
Yes.
And if you read the documents that the government put out, they said this young man lived in a house where there were 3 bedrooms. He was in one, his mother in one, the dogs were in another one, and they said that when they went in there, they found a duffel bag or a backpack full of weapons. How do you reach something like that? How do you reach that? How do you deal with that?
Well, I think the reality is that we don't have a respect or appreciation for life. Parents are not taking responsibility over their children today. You can't love a child by giving them an iPhone or a laptop or games. We've got to go back to the old-fashioned. I think Dr. Holden said that we've got to go back to recoup some of those values that sustained us growing up as children. These children out here running wild, running the streets at all hours of the night. Why do we have a curfew? Because parents will not parent their children. They're out roaming the street. Parents out there boogalooing or break dancing or whatever they're doing. I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
But they're not there for their children. It's going to continue that way.
Brother Kadesh, you have something to say? You were walking up there. I was just curious what you had to say.
I was just thinking about how the guns, I believe, are coming into other areas in the country. We have these train stops where the trains or the department of trains, they house shipping needs like lamps, furniture, and then it's been discovered in some cities where they hit the wrong train compartment and the train is loaded with all different types of weapons. That's right. There are stops in also Washington, D.C. where this may be happening. I understand West Virginia, there's a gun stop there somewhere. There's some of those guns that are here are coming from there. So that duffel bag, it may be in everybody's house. That's right. Let me end this by saying this. We missed the talents of trying to correct our children who gave birth to other children. They give birth to children today. These children today don't have no parents. And their parents were actually crackheads. Their parents were actually dope addicts. And their parents were alcoholics. So we have a trend of this going on. So we have to start somewhere and begin to stop it right now.
So where do ministers like yourself, where do you intervene in this process?
In the streets. In the streets, right? Right where it's happening, in the streets. Some of them know me. In the gutter, in the streets. That's where I come from. That's expo fee. All right, but I've been to prison before myself, so we're not changing anything. We got to go back where we come from.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Brother Dyrell.
That's how I said. That allows me to reason why I'm sitting here that we work on best practices around this nation. And there are some best practices, there's some best practices that pass in your country. That's why we need to come together as a collective group nationally to see what those best practices is. I can send you recordings of one point. What is the problem in our community? Lack of love. But when the ministers or those people, as Kadir said, you go down into those communities and you talk to those so-called dysfunctional children, they are still God's children. They will respond to love. How do we get there to their response? Because you will see, and I can show you best practices, that there are some powerful conversion of those so-called dysfunctional kids that are coming from the generations of dysfunction. But the power of love is the most powerful force. And a lot of our community, if you listen to the track record, is because from the society down to the community, now sometimes their home, there's a lack of love. And God created the most powerful force is love, and love for all things.
Thank you.
In conjunction with our beloved brother, including our regional minister, Dyrell Muhammad. The Honorable Minister has taught us. First, self-examination. Second, self-analysis, which ultimately would lead to self-correction. Now, you can't help a man if he refuses to help himself, because there's something in his suffering that he enjoys. So when you out here at night, you see that particular man that you're trying to help, he cares more about getting high than his hygiene. So next month on the 14th, we'll be right back here. Me and Reverend Stoner, beloved clergy of God, our student regional captain, Dyrell Muhammad, will be right here because we created a platform for nothing but these young people. Sometimes we need to listen to them because that's the problem. A lot of times when you don't establish a relationship with people, we come with precepts and concepts. So we will be here from 11 to 8 o'clock at night. We will hear from 2 students from each high school. We have some local rappers that's going to be rapping consciously about stopping the violence and keeping the peace. We're going to feed 500 people. We're going to have mood bouncers for the children. But right now, what we do after this is over, the work begins.
Maybe we need prayer back in school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
There's a press package we want to take.